for being very diligent in their work, and thank the chair for the statement he has given. The Honorable Speaker, we have seen a lot of misinformation in the media. And I saw a member of parliament from the other house, of course not from this house. This house has very well seasoned members and very diligent in their work. And I saw a senator, not in the Senate, because I don't want to discuss senators with their work in the Senate, but the moment you appear in a press conference and say things that you have no information on, Honorable Speaker, I do hope that that senator will now take time to interrogate the statements and the work that has been done by a finance committee to be able to see facts of what he claimed was 17 billion shillings, which he claimed in the media that this was a 17 billion shillings oil that belonged to some lady, Honorable Speaker, and said that 17 billion shillings had been drawn from the exchequer without approval. Honorable Speaker, that particular senator represents a coalition in parliament, a coalition that has made it its business to misinform the country. I'm happy that the chair of finance has now made the record clear and set the record straight that matters to do with fuel subsidy are extremely different or totally different from issues fuel stabilization. That when the Kenya Kwanza government, Honorable Speaker, said we shall not engage in subsidizing fuel, and because the cost for subsidizing fuel was unbearable for this country's economy, Honorable Speaker, you will see from the statement delivered by the chair that 98 billion shillings, 98 billion shillings, close to 100 billion, was spent in a period of 2-3 months. Honorable Speaker, it tells you on average, we're incurring probably about in the region of 30 billion shillings, about $1 billion shillings a day to subsidize fuel. We have just tabled the National Dialogue Committee, Honorable Speaker, and part of our points of divergence between us and our colleagues in Azimio was on the question of subsidizing fuel. And we made it clear that subsidies in fuel cannot be tenable in an economy like ours, Honorable Speaker. The cost is unbearable. The problems that we are talking about today with the economy, Honorable Speaker, part of those problems emanated from those careless subsidies that we got into in the last 2-3 months before the last general elections. And what are you intending to do? Hoodwink Kenyans that we have made fuel cheaper when the basics of what you should do to make fuel cheaper remain the same. But it comes with a cost to the taxpayer. That is a cost taxpayers are paying today. That is a tax Kenyans are paying today. That is a burden that we bear today, that 6 months after the end of the beginning of the financial year, we don't have a shilling disbursed on NGCDF. It is not enough for members of parliament to say there is no parliament without CDF. We have a duty and a responsibility to ensure that we make sure that macroeconomic policies that are pursued by government are right, sustainable, and those that can last a lifetime, not last an election period. Because we saw policies in the last regime that were supposed to last 2-3 months to cure a problem of an election because people wanted to sell an agenda and a candidate who could not be sold. Honorable Speaker, I thank Kenyans that they could read through the lies, but the pain they bear today out of those things, Honorable Speaker, is what the Chair of Finance is tabling today. Honorable Speaker, I want to speak to Senator Omtata. It was one thing to be a public litigant in the courts. It's another thing to be a legislator and to be a leader. I want to plead to Senator Omtata and all of us to become leaders. When we make public pronouncements, let them be based on actual empirical data that is factual, not just throwing out statements out there to create political narratives and insinuations against personalities that are serving in the executive. Because I heard him say that 17 billion shillings was drawn, I don't remember, by CS Davis Chirchir and CS Kipchumba Murkomen. Honorable Speaker, we must carry the institution of Parliament with the dignity it deserves. And because many of us say things in Parliament where you think you have immunity from prosecution by people when you defame them or slander their names, Honorable Speaker, we then have to carry ourselves with a lot of dignity and be careful on what we say about other people's names and the conduct of their offices. Honorable Speaker, that report now is of that statement from the Finance Committee is a public record. I want to ask our media houses, let them get these public records now, so that even as they perpetuate those things that are said to push political narratives, they may not find it within their space to invite the member for Molo to set the record straight, but at least there is a record, a public record that they can refer to. And those who can read and interpret, they should be able to read and interpret, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I support that statement, and I truly hope that all Kenyans now have facts as they have been laid. Kenyans now know 17 billion that was paid from the exchequer was payments for fuel subsidy incurred under the previous government. In the last supplementary budget that we passed in this House only 3 weeks ago, we paid another 4 billion shillings. And it's not subsidy incurred by this government. So, Honorable Speaker, when we say out there, we are carrying the burdens from the past. There are those who tell us, oh, don't point fingers at others. We are not pointing fingers. We are stating facts as they are. You put our country and our economy into a very deep hole and a ditch that we are cleaning up your mess. Give us peace and space to clean up your mess without shouting and making a lot of noise. Please give us space. Please. Even those who are yesterday telling us to put money. Honorable Speaker, you know, I heard somebody telling us to put money in the political parties fund, 6 billion shillings, Honorable Speaker. At a time Kenyans in the north are marooned by floods. The Azimio coalition, all they can do is ask for money to hold rallies and hold caucuses, political party caucuses, into the political parties fund. I support what this House did in cutting funds to the political parties fund.